as well. As the runners are going to be looking to get the first win as we are going to get on the way. As Unka's going to race us to the castle.
So I gotta correct myself already, and normally I don't do this until there's a few items on the board, and the tracker can actually set something for me to be mistaken on. But I had a typo on my records. I have commentated Zheal, and it was his victory race in the last bracket round against Malik. Got to see him clinch his position for this particular tournament. So GG's again to Zheal like that. And we get the bow.
Yeah, fair enough. Meanwhile, we did get the bow from the uncle, as well as arguably the best boomerang in the game, the blue boomerang. Both runners definitely very happy to find that bow. We did see that in the hash, which of course means bugger all for the way that the seed is going, but we often like to speculate what the seed's going to throw us based on the hash. As we see both runners making their way into the Hyrule Castle, going to be saving the princess. And with the bow, we'll be making very quick work of all of the guards in here.
Yeah, Aza using the generic Link sprite, which is nice to see. I'm not sure which sprite Zheal is using. Looks like some kind of female Link variant. I don't know if it's just female Link.
Yeah, definitely a great selection of sprites as we get the hook shot. That is, wow. That's definitely a nice item to get, both because it does make Swarm Palace clearable once we get access to it, but it also opens up a whole host of movement options. Meanwhile, I thought we were going to get the stun prize, but the guard didn't drop anything.
Yeah, we have both items to give us our stun prize checks. So we can do both the non-frozen prizes. We'll need Ice Rod or Ether to check what the frozen stun prize is.
Yes, and that may take some time. Meanwhile, speaking of drops and prize packs, Zheal getting a bomb drop from the green guard. Definitely going to be helpful. As we do get to see on Azazas' side that the stun prize is a bundle of 5 arrows. Celebratory small key from Zelda's chest. Definitely required in order to beat the escape sequence, as both runners now with Zelda in tow will be making their way to the sewer section.
So Zheal has gone through 9 of his arrows to pick up a bomb. At this point in the game, with limited ammunition, you do have to make a choice between whether you're going to go deep into a particular enemy type, like the Green Guard prize pool, or spread it out across the ropes, the bats, the snakes a little bit. No arrow refills here in the escape sequence, like you might get magic pots. Aza, he still has to do a little bit of farming.
Yeah, definitely running low on the resources department. Zheal also having almost double the amount of rupees, which could come into play. As we do see both our runners into the final portion of the escape sequence. A nice fairy dog there. as we do get the burrito from the dark room chest. That does mean that there are going to be items to be found in the bomber wall section, as well as the sanctuary chest. Now, Asazas, as of yet, has yet to receive a bomb. So it'll be interesting to see if he does progress price packs along to get that bomb drop, or if he is going to have to come back later.
Well, he does have the hook shot, so he can kill all these enemies with the hook shot and save some arrows, which looks like he's doing that now. It would have been nice if he did this a little bit earlier, though, because he's running out of enemies that could potentially drop the bomb.
Ooh, and with that Moon Pearl, definitely not a location that you want to miss early on.
No.
That is part 1 to the Dark World puzzle for both runners.
Lucky for a bomb drop, though, just in the nick of time.
And with that, the final chest of the dungeon is a bundle of 10. And with that, Zheal finishes up the sequence, and Azaz is set free upon the world of Hyrule. So now coming up is one of the more lucrative areas of the game, Kakariko Village, comboed with the Lost Woods check. Definitely a very big density, so we're probably going to see 1 or 2 big items.
Yeah, so the question is always at this point, do you do lumberjack check or not? Asa giving us that early check. Some players, kind of, I would say actually most players at this point, no longer checking this location until they have the boots. It used to be something that you would almost do 100% of the time, but the current meta is basically skip it till you get the boots and then loop it in with bunk rocks.
Yeah, to be honest, it is inaccessible until you have the boots, even if you go and beat Agnim, so definitely not an invalid choice. But for us today, there is only going to be a heart container on that lumberjack, as both the runners are in the Lost Woods piece of heart for Asazas. The Thieves' Den, Zheal will be following shortly.
And that one bomb pickup that Zheal got there really does make a difference. Heading into Kakariko, Asa picking up that 4 bomb in the back of Escape gives him everything he needs to complete this, Kakariko sequence. Zheal would have had to go all the way down and buy bombs, and then go back up to the well or blind spot. 1 bomb lets you gamble at least one of those locations, and maybe find triple bombs in a chest.
Yeah, Asaz does have the slight advantage of having a bit more bombs. As we find the Power Glove, as well as the Red Boomerang, followed by a heart container, and lastly an arrow upgrade.
Well, there's 2 of our 3 Dark World items. Just a mid upgrade or a hammer away from having full access.
Yeah, very true. And with so many more locations to check in the Sphere 1 pool, definitely looking at an early Dark World maybe. Meanwhile, bottom of the well does contain a triplet of bombs, so that is definitely going to save some money. As we find another glove upgrade, we have Dark World access.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, only at our Kakariko portal at the moment. And I do have to take back what I said. Not full Dark World access. We can't get over to East Dark World until we get the flippers or the hammer. And even then, the hammer could still be pyramid locked, depending on which dungeons are 5-6 crystals. So chat can hold a little bit of hope left for an Agaseed still.
Yeah, this race is definitely far from over, so anything can happen, pedestal or Ego-wise. Zheal going to be picking up his Power Glove. So we're going to get a sneak peek at the library item. Though only a red rupee, definitely not going to be seeing that one again. As we do see a very common decision, as I said, checking the item before actually diving straight into the game, which all in all does not lose a lot of time. Definitely is a small time save.
Yeah, I think if you're low on items, it tends to be worth gambling that if you have extra bombs. Aza only having 3 bombs probably didn't feel it was worth the gamble. It's always unfortunate though when you do check it and then you have to walk back up there. A lot of newer runners will check that spot regardless, just because they're more likely to pick up a heart piece or something that isn't significant value. But with the top 64, they're probably not going to get anything that's short of real progression.
Yeah, undoubtedly the both runners do have enough experience under the belt to play this game blind, if you will. But with that, Asazas is starting the southern shortloop, does get some extra rupees from the dam. We'll be looking at the mini Mollum cave shortly. So after these quote-unquote more standard checks, I believe our runners will have a choice for a split path. You could go and take the gamble towards Eastern Palace, or go straight into that Dark World for that for the Village of the Outcast check.
Yeah, Aza done mini Moldrum Cave. Zheal is a little bit behind at the moment, but 20, 30 seconds, 12 minutes in doesn't really make a difference. Let's see.
Oh, I think Zaz is going Death Mountain. No.
I think Village of Outcasts does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely. But with that hook shot, Death Mountain is also quite a lucrative area. Although they don't have the lamp, which will make it a technical sequence break, I, again, have no doubt that these runners are fully capable of performing dark rooms.
Well, our 5-6 crystals are Skullwoods and Ice Palace. So right there, we've eliminated the hammer being behind the Pyramid Fairy. So Aga is definitely dead from that requirement.
Yeah, Aaron's definitely going to be happy to find that, as Zaz does enter Skull Woods. There are only 2 items to be found, but most people will regard it as another overworld location because it's just so easy to check, and you pretty much only need Dark World access. As we do find a lot more money in way of 50 rupees.
So Skullwoods here, interesting early check, and I do call this an early check because we don't have the fire rod or the sword in order to get to the back half and actually clear this boss. So all Aza can potentially do is just check the front, and that might not even have any items. We could have both items in the back. Unlike earlier versions where this was almost guaranteed progression, Skullwoods doesn't come up with a lot of value lately.
Yeah, the Skullwood's dream has died down a little bit. But I believe that there is only one item remaining within Skullwoods, if I keep track, of course.
Yeah, Zheal going at least to Sasharala's hut, maybe Eastern. Having the bow, this makes sense because you can full clear the dungeon. You'll be sequence breaking past the dark rooms, but at this point in the brackets, nobody will double dip a dungeon due to a dark room. So the only question is, if we find all three items before the Armos Knights, do we still kill it for the pendant, or do we no bow?
Ooh, that is a very interesting question. Now, of course, we are still going to be quite some time away, and even with it being a pendant, there could still be progression. Even more so on the pedestal, as I'm sure chat has already been deviously planning out what trolley items could be on there.
Well, I think it depends on where you are in the dungeon. That's our first item in Eastern, a big 20. If we find the last item at the big chest, maybe you'll be like, okay, I'm close enough. I'll kill the boss. But with only 5 hearts and no fire rod to light the torch in that second room, the second dark room, it can be a little difficult. So that could go either way.
Yeah, also considering that it is just a normal pendant and not the green pendant, definitely puts a little less value on it. As Azaz does find the bug net in the brewery.
Well, having secured the bug net, I think we can basically call it at this point, right, Stan?
Yes, I mean, everyone's going to have to do slagging in.
I think I like this play that Izo's making. It's interesting. You're going to be able to pick up the first 4 chests. You don't have a weapon that you can kill blind with, and you do risk potentially orphaning an item in the big chest without the hammer. So, it's good to check these first 4. But if he continues beyond the first 4, the best he can do at the moment is just to get blind to the boss room. And chat telling us that I missed this, but hammer being on bumper ledge. So do both players have that knowledge, chat, or did only one player check up there? I was doing a little bit of troubleshooting back here.
Yeah, I also am not paying enough attention, I suppose. But I'm sure that chat will be helpful to us as Azaz does pick up another item. Looks like he's going to take a death warp, not going to risk it. It's going to wait until he either has the hammer and perhaps a little bit more health. For this, he has not been very healthy so far.
Okay, well, as Chat points out, Iza is the only one who's been in the Dark World and has that knowledge. Knowing where the hammer is, there's no reason to continue into Thieves Town beyond those first 4 items. The sword there in Eastern, that's our first actual weapon that could have damaged blind. If Iza had picked that up first.
Yeah, now it'll just come down that whenever Zheal finds the hammer on the bumper cave, whether or not he is going to gamble on the victors having nothing. So we'll just have to wait and see for that, as Azaz is playing the favourite digging game in all of Hyrule, does get the Fisher Price shield from it, and we'll take it and leave it.
Yeah, and we do technically have to remember that sword is a sequence broken sword, but given the fact that there's 4 swords in the game, and it's really only at the moment unlocking Mothula and Aga, it's not really something that's worth keeping track of as a sequence break compared to dark rooms or fig flippers.
Yeah, that is true. Azaz, though, making the Dark World overall checks, does find the Quake Medallion on the Stone Kid. Now, as of yet, we have not even been to the Death Mountain area, and lacking the flute, we are unable to check Misery Miner. So, for all we know, those could be required. Or we might still be looking for the other 2 pendants. Or medallions, rather.
Well, I don't expect Asa at least to head up to Misery Mire until we get that hammer. So he's gonna. I'm sorry, I said Misery Mire. I meant Death Mountain. If you can go up there and do Tower of Hera as well, which the hammer will unlock. So he's probably looking for the mirror or the cape at the moment. Zheal, hopefully coming out of Skull Woods, we'll do that bumper ledge check, get that invaluable knowledge of where the hammer is.
Yeah, in the meantime, Azaz getting our first bottle from Hype Cave, along with some money and some heart pieces. So you'll just have to wait and see if Hype Cave is actually Hype. As Azaz is going to take a peek at the Zora or Lake Hylia item. Another bottle.
Yeah, a bottle of blue goo might be nice to pick up if they're they have the mirror and the flippers coming out of Swamp Palace. The scenario for that though is pretty unlikely though, because they would need the items to full clear Swamp and a reason to go into Swamp, which means that they have to be having exhausted most of their other checks. So we have a little bit of a crossover now. Zheal might be going into Thieves Town.
Yeah, with that sword, that does make it a little bit more attractive to go in there, for they can then actually kill the boss. But then again, they might, as you mentioned, forgo the one item in the big chest.
So I think for either runner, Asa, once he gets the sword out of here in Eastern, or Zheal, if he kills blind or not, either way, coming out of Thieves Town, I think that sequence break to Death Mountain might be a really good option. If you're gonna be picking up items out of sequence, granted. So you're not going to find, both the flute and the lamp up there, but one of those will give you information on where the other one is. But also, if you pick up an item like the mirror, it's going to, allow you to route in a lot of your overworld checks quicker and unlock some additional checks like Cave 45 and Graveyard Ledge. And it's the time savings on some of these things are big enough that it's worth keeping track of those sequence breaks.
Yeah, also considering that both Light Death Mountain as well as Dark Death Mountain are open due to having the hookshot and the Tidesmith, so that does put quite a bit more value on the eastern side of things.
Exactly. All you have to do is escort the old man through the dark. Both having a sword makes that a trivial exercise. It's a little tricky without a sword, but it's dead simple with one. And mirror, boots, the flute, a lot of things that could be up there out of sequence would just save them so much more time. Not to mention the fact that you're going to be checking 20 items. After Kakariko and Ganon's Tower, the East Light Dark combo is the most item dense place you can go to.
Yeah, definitely fully expecting something to be up on the dreaded mountain. Zheal, in the meantime, will be heading his way to the attic of Thieves Town. Going to be let some light into the room down below to activate the boss fight at the end of this. Meanwhile, Azaz making his way to the vanilla big key chest.
So there's a compass in the Thieves Town attic. So we're gonna have to wait till we see what a map check not a map check rather, an inventory change from Zheal see what dungeon items he's picked up already, and that will help us determine ultimately whether or not there's an item in the big chest coming out of here.
Meanwhile, picking up the sword is going to head on out. Zheal is going to have to be careful, down to half a heart.
Yeah, this has been a very stingy seed on health. Green male, 5 hearts. Aza's at least picked up a little bit of extra health. There's 2 hearts here, so that's a little bit nice. And still not a situation you like to be in. Oh, well-timed heartbeat.
Yeah, it does get a nice refill. As we do see Azaz heading up the Death Mountain cave. Definitely not a bad idea. A lot of items to check, although it is a sequence break. Azaz will be able to use the sword sparkly bits to guide him on his way through.
Yeah, and that heart piece had 2 benefits for Zheal. The full health refill was very nice heading up here, but it also means that the small key for the door is locked in the big chest of this dungeon. So not having the hammer and not knowing where it is yet means that he's not leaving anything behind. So this is a full clear in one trip, no double dips. And Blue Mail and the Old Man is a little bit nice on health at this point.
Yeah, that is true, as well as having access to that save and quit point. And that does make access to the mountain a fair bit easier. But with that, Zheal will be picking up the first crystal of this match about half an hour in.
Yeah, that save and quit point on the Old Man is a little bit less valuable until you pick up the flute, because you don't have too many reasons to come up here, hopefully, anyway. But if we find the flute or the lamp up here, that will give us really valuable information on where the other one is. Without the mirror, though, Aza's going to have to do the light world first, which means climbing up, falling back down through Spiral Cave, and then taking the dark world back up again.
Yeah, definitely not the faster routing that you can take, but as long as you get to check everything, then things should work out alright. Zheal, meanwhile, skipping the shield. Does not think that he needs it. Meanwhile, Asaz's going to start on the Paradise Cave. Gets a bottle and a piece of heart to start.
Paradox Cave is my personal favorite hype cave, so I'm holding out hope here. For there's another sword, so we're off to a nice start.
And Ether.
And Ether, of course.
What more could we have? Well, besides that, only money to be found. That Master Sword is a welcome upgrade.
Well, we could have had more, but a medallion and the sword it isn't so bad. Master Sword is the minimum sword we need to complete the game, so at least they have Sword Go mode at this point. Not that they wouldn't be very happy to find another one.
Has to be, wow, find another bottle.
Yeah, so that's 2 mirror locked bottles that we know of right now, both on islands.
Oh yeah, that does mean that we also have found all the bottles already, not even half an hour in. You don't see that too often.
I want to know who's putting all the bottles on the islands, though.
Well, you would think Ganon. Or it might be a gift from the goddesses of Hyrule to help Link progress.
I don't think you can blame Ganon. Both of those bottles are in the light world. Ganon only places items in the dark world.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
I say blame Vitor. that's always a good fallback.
When in doubt, blame Vito. Something breaks, blame Vito. Oh man. Yeah, but with that, shoutouts to the Randomizer development team. Of course, without them, this would not be a reality. So, We would like to thank you for all your hard work, as well as the amazing community that the Randomizer has sparked for us to be hosting these wonderful races. As we get the fire rod from Sick Kid, definitely worth the value. Hype Cave coming in strong.
Absolutely. Thank you, Randomizer developers, for thousands of my hours of my life that I could have been doing other things.
Thanks for making me waste my time.
Exactly. So, Fire Rod's interesting there. Zheal has the ability to full clear Skullwoods now. We know that there's one item in the back of Skullwoods still, and that is a crystal, so that's a little bit of motivation to go up there. Green Mail, Fighter Sword, and Seven Hearts, though, is a bit of a disincentive, on the other hand.
Yeah, Azaz is definitely looking a lot healthier, having almost a full bar. Being at 9, I believe that is.
Zeal's thinking, though, is, you know, I don't care. I don't care if it's only Fighter Sword. I don't care if it's only Green Mail and Seven Hearts. I went 2-0 in my match 1. I'm not scared of any bug.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to display his skill within the game. As Fire Sword Modular is not the easiest, and not to mention the low heart count.
So
with that, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, other than the Master Sword, Aza's trip up the Death Mountain didn't really yield a lot of value. The Blue Mail's nice, but probably would have been hoping for more. He's coming back to Thieves Town, but he could have done this right after picking up that Fighter Sword in Eastern.
Yeah, although I don't blame him for not letting loose ends lie unattended. But yeah, this could have been routed a bit more efficiently. Of course, our runners don't know where the items are, because otherwise this would be no fun.
Well, my point wasn't to say that it could have been routed differently. I was just pointing out that Death Mountain didn't really pay off, and it didn't open up anything new for him. That was what my thinking was.
Oh yeah, no, I can see where you were coming from now.
Yeah, ideally he would have found the cape or the boots, or so he could have gotten the hammer, or just had some mobility options. The Master Sword, eventually they're going to need it, but right now it's nice to have. It doesn't help with the blind fight at all.
Oh yeah, that is true. Blind is one of the few bosses in the game that does not care what weapon you have. We'll get more into that as Azaz enters his version of the boss fight. Zheal, meanwhile, coming up to his respective dungeons boss, does have an extra small key to spare, so it does not need to kill the Gibdo, but with that, narrowly escapes the Wallmaster. We're getting a combination of spins and fire rods for Mothula. Who is unfortunately out of magic at the moment, so we'll have to resort to slashes alone, but does manage to finish it out, having 5 hearts to spare, and receives the big key. But more importantly, one of the Pyramid's fairy crystals.
Yeah, that was a very well executed fight. When you have low equipment, you just need to be careful, be patient, and Zheal absolutely pulled that off very cleanly.
Yeah, we do see Azazaz escorting the damsel in distress of Thieves down. Zheal is going to check out the final.
Interesting.
Oh my goodness. Cain of Samaria. That has got to be Cain.
So, not opening up anything immediately, but that will be required for both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock, both of which are crystals. We'll need the hammer to get into Turtle Rock, and potentially more medallions. And we'll need the flute just to get over to Mire to see what this medallion is. But cane is one of those items that you want to get out of the way.
Yeah, definitely not want to have cane as your go-mode item, because although it is required for pretty much all of the late game dungeons, they are pretty much the only locking condition, so it could pretty much be anywhere.
So Chad has been trolling that we might see the cape in one of the locations that typically holds the hammer, like Ice Palace or First Skullwood's First Swamp Palace chest, requiring double dips in those dungeons.
Oh god. Yeah, chat never disappoints us with the most evilest of Plando locations. But of course, for our runner's sake, we'd be hoping that they find all the items soon, although that would be no fun, of course. Meanwhile, Asazas will be escorting the frog back home. Hopefully we'll be turning on this bottle. Let's hope that he didn't forget about that. It does look like he did not, so we'll be receiving his fire rod.
Yeah, it does appear that we're just seeing a little bit of crossover on each other's routes now, and neither runner actually has any items that will let them progress further in these respective areas. Zheal, can't get the Hera, can't get those items. Aza still doesn't have the cape, can't pick up the hammer, so I expect he'll probably just go into Skull Woods, pick up that crystal and the cane, and they'll probably come pretty close to sync after this. So, do they take another divergence, or do we see them going to the next location together?
Yeah, at this point, it does look like both of the runners do have a very unique routing choice, but it just happens that the progression is in neither of the two slots, so eventually they're going to have to converge. But as chat also pointed out, Agina's Cave is still on the table.
Yeah, Isa did not go into Skull Woods, so no crystal, no Kinosmaria from him at the moment. Not really a big deal in the short term, because, like I said, the cane doesn't unlock anything for a little while, and it being in the back of Skull Woods, and Skull Woods being a crystal, you're going to go back there anyway. It's just a matter of when. It looks like he might be doing what you were saying. He's doing some of these one-off overworld checks. Ice Rod Cave, maybe a Genus Cave. Without the flute and the boots, though, these are very time-intensive checks.
Yeah, although in our runner's case, the amount of locations is starting to diminish rather rapidly. And even I am pretty dumbfounded as to where we are going to find the lamp or the flute for Death Mountain. As of yet, it's still a sequence break.
True. We don't have the beans to get into desert at all. We can't get to Hera. We can go in the Palace of Darkness, but we can't full clear it. That's going to be guaranteed 4 items we can get, 4, possibly 5. But still, some of those will be lamp locked, sequence broken. It looked like I thought Aza was going to sequence break Ice Palace for a minute there, but he's just doing Zora's domain checks.
Oh yeah, none of the runners opted to do the fake flippers when they first went for the South Shore, so definitely not a bad choice. Both runners do have almost double the money requirement for Zora, so we'll just have to wait and see. As first checking, the man under the bridge gets a piece of heart. Zheal is going to climb up Death Mountain.
There's 1 item on Hobo and 4 up in Zora's domain, so that's more than you're going to get in Palace of Darkness, and these are very, very quick checks. I think at this point, you've already sequence broke all of Death Mountain, so you have to be assuming that one of these early accessible locations like Zora, Aegina's Cave, Ice Red Cave. You know, you must have missed something.
Yeah, something is going to be in these easily accessible locations. Asazas, unfortunately, getting sniped from the River Zora while being in the fake flipper state. The reason for that is in the vanilla game, if you are fake flippering, if you transition from the original screen you entered the water from, if you get hit, you will be put back in an invalid position, therefore soft locking your game. And instead, the randomizer developer made it so you would instantly die and lose all of your theories, so that you would not be soft locked. So that is why he instantly died from that.
Well, let me ask you about that.
Sure thing.
Does it doesn't actually take away your fairies, does it? I thought it just killed you.
Does it not? Okay. I never tried it, but
I don't know.
Of course, I could be wrong. But I thought it removed your fairies, because even if the kill command is run, and you have fairies in your inventory, it'll automatically revive you. But then again, this game is pretty much held together by duct tape. So...
I wouldn't be surprised if the developers found a way to kill their players without the fairy activating.
Oh my god! Oh. Wow, tempered sword already. But yeah, definitely something worth investigating.
Yeah, the one-off location there paying off. Unfortunately, you know, Iza missed out on Zora, which was one of those Sphere 1 locations. You know, he was fake flippering to get the pyramid, the waterfall fairy while he was up there. But Zora, once he got that first glove, he could just walk up to Zora.
No, yeah, that is true. That is literally the only requirement to get the item from Zora. For the other three, you do need the flippers or the water walking glitch. We did see the fake flippers, and with the moon pearl, if you enter the waterfall cave and then exit, you will be walking on water, just to be with the waterfall fairy.
Yeah, it's really interesting how quickly Zheal picked up the tempered sword after Iza did, both checking these, you know, remote, isolated Sphere 1 locations and finding value there. Zheal completed everything up on Death Mountain. You know, they've got to be wondering, you know, where's that lamp or that flute that have gotten me up there to the item density? Where's the cape that will get me over to the hammer? It's like there's so much. I think right now Zora is looking really good.
Yeah, Zora is pretty much one of the last locations within logic for all of the others to require at least some form of minor glitch.
Yeah, they can't get over to Palace of Darkness without the flippers or the hammer. So you can roll out Pod. I mentioned Pod earlier. You can't get there. You can't get into Swamp Palace. Zheal is pulling this off, so we will get our Zora check, and I'm gonna call it. I think it's Zora because we've rolled everything else out.
I'm gonna call Vanilla Flippers at Zora with something on the Zora ledge. Meanwhile, though, as taking on the most okay.
That's tempered sword.
Wow. Zheal, though, filling his bottle, I did miss what it filled with, but I'm sure it'll help him on his journey.
It was a free bee.
Yeah, a bee talk. Money saved. Alright, Ares gonna give him... Zheal doesn't check it! No! Oh no! So we are still in suspense. It has got to be Cape. Flips at Zora, Cape at Zora Ledge. Calling it right now. Putting bets down.
Yeah, he didn't get close enough to see the item. That's silly.
Mirror, though. Your face for sale. Now, that pretty much only gives us a couple more locations. Wow, this seed has been Wow. Zheal, though,
That,
going to use that to get into Tower of Hera. But that does also open up the mirror locations that you mentioned earlier with K45 and the graveyard.
Zheal is going to Hera, but I gotta say, I think this is a mistake. Knowing that all of Death Mountain is still out of sequence, all that actually opens up is Graveyard Ledge in K45 as logical locations. Knowing that we're still looking, like Mirror was the Zor was our last place that we could have gotten progression in sequence. That and Purple Chest, I think. I would do Purple Chest and K45. We have to be finding something in sequence.
Yeah, pretty much the thing that we're looking for would be the flute or the lamp, both which will give us access, or logical access, to Death Mountain. But yeah, definitely going to be coming down to the wire. Zheal finding the big key early, so does not have to go to the basement yet.
Well, Chet says a crystal is never a mistake, and Chet's correct that you would have to come up here eventually anyway. I just wouldn't necessarily have prioritized this first, because you're also going to have to go to those other locations for the required progression, and that might give you boots, which will make something else easier to get to, and you can then maybe route. Maybe that gives you book, which gives you and that intended desert to be your next progression, and that lets you check ether while you're up here.
Speaking of boots, big chest Tower of Hera coming in clutch. You're going to be very happy to have found those. Meanwhile, asazas, as you mentioned, putting in the purple chest, ouch, gets only a vanilla piece of heart. Actually, no, that's a bottle in vanilla. Never mind me.
Yeah, boots are a great mobility advantage, and nobody would say no to the boots, but that opens up 2 more out of sequence locations.
Yeah, still, without that lamp or the flute, still out of sequence. But man, Zheal does manage to take down Moldorm.
Purple Chest had a heart piece, and I think we still have an item left in the Hera basement.
Yes, that is correct. We did find the map in the first basement and the compass of Moldorm.
So he's a
Asazas.
So before we found the boots and we got sidetracked, what I was trying to get through is following the logic. You don't want to sequence break too much stuff, because if let's say K45 has the book and the intended progression is going to be desert, then that could have let Zheal do ether while he was up here. If it was the keep, then he could have picked up the hammer, and it just you're missing something key. He's gonna have to come up to Death Mountain later on for Turtle Rock anyway, so rushing Hera wasn't necessarily valuable, aside from, of course, in this particular case, the boots was fortuitous.
Yeah, Zheal did get lucky with finding the boots in the big chest. Azaz, though, does manage to get his mirror item, as we will find out that only 50 rupees remain in the basement. And to get chat out of suspense, the Zora Ledge was only a 20 rupee thing. Something garbage, hot garbage.
So Zheal does definitely have the ability to check these locations much quicker now. These two new boot spots are unlocked, and then just getting everywhere is obviously. No one is going to say no to the boots.
Yeah, no, they are definitely one of the more useful items in the game. Although I'm curious why he didn't go here in the Dark World, because now he can't check the Graveyard Ledge.
It's actually quicker to check these in the Light World than doing the mirroring.
Oh, really? Well, Well, yeah, I guess I can see that, but that does mean that Zheal will have to come back though.
Yeah, Zheal is going to have to come back because we still believe that Key 45 or Graveyard Ledge is our next progression item. But Asa will pick up his boots as well here in Tower of Hera. Both players opting to go for the crystal they can clear, and just keeping in the back of their mind, you know, those mirror lock spots that they'll eventually have to go back to. Zheal probably going to do Graveyard Ledge here at the moment.
Yeah, definitely following the breadcrumbs.
And probably what we're looking for is the cape.
Yeah, Cape is going to, oops, Asazas unfortunately takes a step too far, going down 2 floors, unfortunately. But yeah, the hammer is pretty much what is going to lock us from the rest of the Dark World.
Yeah, the game doesn't want Asa to have the boots quite so
Ooh.
soon.
Interesting, there is the lamp. So that does make the entirety of Death Mountain in sequence again. But then again, Death Mountain didn't have anything of importance, so runners can't really deduct any further locations from that.
Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't actually unlock anything. So we still have to do Key 45, and God, if this doesn't have anything, we might have to do Aga.
Yeah, I just thought that as well. Like, you know, with that lamp, that does put Aghanim within logic, and you know, not being able to get up to that to the part of the Dark World, the game might be intending for you to open up the Hyrule Castle portal. Wow, that would be brutal.
Yeah,
being an hour in.
I mean, we rolled it out early because we knew where the hammer was, and we just assumed that the cape wouldn't be there. But yeah, it's if the cape or the flippers, and there's silvers, so I think this is an Aga required seat after all. 53 minutes in.
Yeah, wow, we got juked hard. Yeah, although our chat is pointing out, if runners do know the waterwalk glitch, they could potentially bypass.
That's true. You have to set up a buffered water walk in the Skull Woods area, and then get all the way over to the Lake Hylia, and then you can bypass it. So if they know it, then that will save them some time.
Yeah, wow. Zheal does look like he is realizing his fate after all. It's going to be charging on upstairs. Hopefully we'll get to see that Swaghanim that we demanded earlier. But yeah, wow, what a turn of events. An hour in and we're still going to do Aghanim.
So, I mean, somebody who gambled Aga early, you know, could have a definite advantage on time, but I can't see any reason why anybody would have made that particular gamble. They had the mitts, the Moon Pearl. Anticipating this situation, this is so rare.
Yeah, wow, this is... You don't see this every day. Usually Aghanim will be required to get into the Dark World, but usually after you get Dark World access, Aghanim will be written off the board. But yeah, it is very much possible for sequences of events to line up just so, as it does for our runners today.
The one thing that you can see that is extremely rare is the hammer being locked behind the pyramid fairy. So you have to do Aga just to be able to take the big bomb over there. But once we saw that the red crystal was Ice Palace, that eliminated the possibility of the hammer being behind the crystal. And we just kind of assumed at that point we would get the flippers or the hammer elsewhere. So this is fairly odd that you actually need it not for Dark World access as a whole, but to get to that side specifically. So
Zheal making... Sorry?
No, go ahead, Stan.
Yeah, I was going to say Zheal making excellent progress through Aghanim's Tower. Asaz going to check out the Dark World first, though.
So
Sorry.
I'll go this time. I was just looking at basically, the analysis of who is in the lead at this point. Having completed every single thing they could check, including sequence breaks, Zheal was forced to head up to Aga, and Iza only has the Graveyard Ledge and Key 45 locations as well, before he'll be in the same situation. So they have the same item progression. So in this case, it's very clear to say that Zheal does have a time progression as well. Already finishing Aga, where Iza is going to be a good 5-6 minutes behind.
Yeah, of course, it is always difficult to say who is in the lead, so we like to reference it as an advantage. But yeah, with the routes coming to pretty much to a closure with each other, we do see that Zaz does have a little bit of catching up to do. Although, of course, as Randomizer, this is not over until it's over.
Exactly. A lead of a few minutes, 57 minutes in, does not constitute an insurmountable advantage. There's 4 crystal dungeons left that they can't even access certain ones yet. So lots of opportunities for diversions, but it was a synchronization point where you could actually objectively measure something.
Ooh, only a vanilla piece of heart on the pyramid. Zheal going to opt for Palace of Darkness. Definitely not a bad choice. There are more items there, but if I'm going to be honest, I think it's going to be Caper Catfish at this point.
Yeah, Pod and Catfish are the only options, but with the lamp and the bow now, all of Pod is in logic except for the Helmasaur King. And the mirror makes navigating in Pod much easier. So we're going to get at least 4 items here, maybe all 5 if Helmasaur has a dungeon item. This is going to be a double dip either way, but
yes,
hopefully they'll find some items. And it's a little bit easier to come out of here and then go to Catfish and save and quit rather than having to go to Catfish and then walk back here. So I do like this route. Meanwhile, Iza has also realized his peril and is up in making the climb to Aga.
Yeah, chat asking why Pod is not clearable. You do need the hammer to actually clear this dungeon, due to the reason that there are mole enemies, there are terrapins, which all require the hammer exclusively. But that does not mean that we can check pretty much everything. Everything except for the boss location. So Zheal has a plethora of locations to find whatever items he'll need.
And so other than the waterfall fairy, which is still out of sequence, everything else has basically been fixed by picking up the lamp. Taking a look at our dungeons here, We could pick up the Eastern Pendant if we wanted to, but we got the items out of that dungeon. Can't get into Desert without the flute or a book yet. Can't clear Pod without the hammer, but we do know where the hammer is once we get the cape. Swamp Palace, we need the flippers for. Ice Palace, we also need the flippers to logically clear it, and we need to pick up the hammer to actually clear it. Mire, we need the flute. Turtle Rock, we need the ice rod to finish. And for both of those, we still might need a medallion. So we're still missing quite a few things and plenty of opportunities for divergences.
Yeah, exactly. Well put. Yeah, but with that, we still have also a plethora of items for the pedestal. Mainly, the only discrepancy is would be for the Desert Palace, because there are two ways to enter Desert Palace. If you have the flute, mitts, and mirror, or the Book of Medora, those are the two ways that you can enter Desert Palace. So until we have all the items from either of the categories, we will not know for sure what could be on the pedestal. But other than that, still a medallion, the ice rod, flippers, and pretty much flute or cape could still be on that pedestal.
Well, flute and cape can't be because flute block. Cape can't be because cape blocks the hammer, which blocks Swamp Palace. We could have bombos or the ice rod.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
And we can't have the cape hammer or flippers. So bombos or ice rod, I think, is really what we're looking for. But maybe book or flute if we get one of the other ones first.
Yeah, my apologies. I had confused Skullwoods and Swamp Palace for a minute. But thankfully, I'm not alone, and my co-caster is actually paying attention.
Well, I think that's your 6th mistake compared to like my 75th. So feel free to mess up a few more times.
We'll even each other out. Ooh, Azaz though going to gamble for the catfish immediately. I'm still going to be steadfast with my K prediction. Zheal finding some bombs is going to have to save him quid out, for there is no more that he is willing to check.
Yeah, if your catfish prediction pays off, then right there that erases all your previous mistakes, because this is a big call. And Zheal running behind them. They're both going to catfish.
Yeah, this is definitely coming close together.
And I'm gonna say
we find out. The cape, there it is! What? Let's go, lads! We have hammer access. Wow. Zheal, though, not too far behind, will be getting his cape. And with that, we'll be unlocking the rest of the seed as well.
Yeah, Zheal does still have a little bit of a time advantage, having already cleared, some locations in Pod and picked up that big key. So he'll be able to just kill Helmasaur later on. That'll probably be his last crystal, or last crystal before going up to Turtle Rock, depending on how things pan out. But both of them have to pick up that hammer first. Isa, though, definitely taking the quicker route, staying in the Dark World. Zheal gonna have to re-enter the Dark World at Kakariko.
Yeah, perhaps a bit overwhelmed with receiving such a massive item for the seed.
I don't blame him. Just mentally thinking, running from Catfish over to Bumper Cave, like, who does that?
And with that, Azaz does have his hammer, Zheal close behind.
Yeah, Isa is going into full clear pod. If I was him, I might have done a quick hammer pegs check, but pod is a full clearable crystal, and Zheal will either come back here to pod most likely. I don't think. I'm trying to think of if anything else was opened up by the hammer. We have hammer pegs as a one-off. We don't have. We have. Spike Cave opened up as a one-off. No dungeons opened up though.
We could possibly enter Turtle Rock before we did get the cane earlier, right?
We don't have the bombos.
Oh, I missed. Well, don't mind me. I'm here.
Yeah, 69 left to go still. It's okay.
Whew, making headway.
You'll leave them in this up if it's the last thing you do.
Oh man. Meanwhile, Zheal going to go back into House of Darkness is as on his first trip, while Zheal will have his second dip.
So unless we find an obvious progression item on Helmasaur King, we've seen everything else here in pod. So we're going to be looking at one-offs again. Spike Cave or Hammer Pegs, and maybe we'll see the runners go back to sequence breaking dungeons. They can sequence break into Ice Palace if they want to, and full clear that dungeon now with the Fire Rod and the Hammer.
Yeah, that could definitely change the tides of this if there is something hidden within the Ice Palace. Of course, it would still be a sequence break, but not a big one at that.
Yeah, the only risk of sequence breaking something like ice is that by the time the logic expects you to go there, you might be able to go mode it. But
yes,
that's always a psychological reluctance that players have, and sometimes just getting those 3 items and checking those extra spots makes all the difference in the world. If we find the Ice Rod up there or Bombos, maybe it's a little bit ahead of the flippers, but maybe you can then not get the flippers at all, the seed, and because we only actually need them to go into Swamp Palace, which is a pendant. So for all we know, this game wants you to go into desert to get the flippers, and we can just sequence break ice and then skip that. Zheal's still holding this lead a little bit on Helmasaur King. He's having to full clear the dungeon, but they're only within a minute or so at this point. Maybe 2 minutes. Very close. And yeah, I'll agree with chat. I'll agree with chat. Leads. You can't really call a lead until somebody is holding the Triforce. But
sorry, continue.
But you can talk about relative advantages, which is what we're doing. We're not saying Zheal's going to win. We're saying Zheal has completed more things. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, sorry for that interruption.
No, I wanted to laugh too.
Oh man, we still don't know if Palace of Darkness was the answer. It looks like Zheal is going to check that immediately. Does not want to leave. Nope, never mind, making a liar out of me.
Yeah, we have Spike Cave, the shovel spot, and Hammer Pegs now as likely progression locations. This is just a stupid seed.
Yeah, this like, oh my goodness. Oh, But I'm sure our runners are loving it though, right? Oh, at least for any of our new runners, they'll get to see the entirety of Hyrule. That's a consolation prize.
Yeah,
Oh my.
this one's frustrating to be a runner in because, you know, normally you can, you know, you always feel behind as a runner, regardless of how well you're playing. It's just the degree to which you feel behind. And in a seed like this, when every time you exhaust all of your possible locations multiple times, then you're feeling like, oh my god, I skipped something, then I did it again, and then god, I did it again.
Yeah, although little do our runners know that both of these flippers in Peg Cave. There it is. At long last.
Well,
So
that's gonna give us ice, logically.
Yeah, that also gives us access to Storm Palace. Although our runners obviously would rather not set foot in Storm Palace, but it does have 6 unique items, 7 if you count the green pendant.
Well, Zeal's gonna do the shovel here, and maybe the shovel will lead to flute.
Can you imagine vanilla flute? That'd be insane. Nope, just an arrow upgrade. Meanwhile, though, Azaz in the Halmasaur fight, making excellent headway. You're going to use hammer-only strats, which are a little bit faster compared to holding out the sword, because the sword does create a little bit of lag. And with that singular silver arrow, Halmasaur is taken down.
And Isa's going to be very unhappy with the shovel.
Yeah.
I did mention earlier, once they got the hammer, I said, you know, it'd be really nice if the runners went over and did hammer pegs, you know, while they're so close. And hammer pegs, they had to go back there anyway to get those flippers. Zeal's doing the hobo, so that's one location that Isa had done that he hadn't done prior to doing Aga. Isa doing shovel first, and then hammer pegs or spike cave.
Yeah, it looks like Zheal is going to take a chance in Ice Palace, by the looks of things. Definitely going to be gambling to find some form of progression.
I don't think there's any other play you make. It's Ice Palace or Swamp Palace. Swamp has 7 items, including the green pendant, versus 3 in Ice. But Ice is the crystal. So if you find your progression here, not only do you get your crystal, you also have your progression. Swamp, at the best, you can just do that after Ice if you have to.
Oh yeah, that is true. Also, Ice will also unlock 2 more items, because it is the second of the Pyramid Fairy Crystals.
That's a good point, and that's easier to route in with Swamp as well, but where the hell is Isa going?
Spike Cave, maybe? Although,
no.
I don't see why it'd go this way. Wait, has Azaz checked the medallion requirement?
Oh, you know what?
Because
he didn't
might
check
be
this.
taking the 66% that he has a medallion.
Yeah, only Zheal checked this, and it just got marked on both trackers. So this will be a disappointment for Isa. If you wanted to just to do Spike Cave, he could have stayed on the west Death Mountain. I guess I'll probably do it now.
Yeah, definitely not a bad idea. And with 10 hearts, you can pretty much tank quite a lot of the cave as we brush past Ganon's tower. See you coming up on the Ice Palace bomb jump. Arguably the most difficult bomb jump in the game. Just get it on the first try, making it look easy.
That right there, like I said, I don't know whether Zheal plays NMG or not, but that is one of the NMG hammer strats using the hammer for your positioning, so you can immediately do the dash afterwards to hit the switch. It was definitely a practice maneuver.
I just checked my sources, and yes, Zheal has run the NMG category. So that may be where his experience with the bomb jump comes from.
Well, I hadn't checked it. It looked like it was true, but I'm not going to say that without having actually checked it myself. So it's good to know.
Yeah, we don't want to spread inaccurate information. Azaz going to be checking the effects, will be receiving his flippers. And we will most likely be seeing him go through Ice Palace just as Zheal is doing. Zheal bombing for some drops, not getting what he wants though.
Yeah, absolutely. Zheal already did the shovel, and he even went up and did spike cave. I'm sorry, Aza did the shovel and already did a spike cave. Yeah, that was a check Zheal has skipped because, for obvious reasons, it's out of the way, and it's going ice makes a lot of sense.
Although, it is looking like Azaz is setting up for Swamp Palace. Very interesting. There are more items to be found in Swamp than in Ice Palace and the Pyramid Theory. But yeah, as you mentioned, having a full clearable crystal compared to a pendant. But who knows, this might pay off massively for Azaz.
Well, I mean, he's not going to be able to do the Pyramid Fairy until after completing Ice. Normally, when you see a play like this, you ask, is there something in, a location A that will help me in location B? There's nothing in Swamp that is going to make Ice easier, but there is something in Ice that would make the Swamp route easier or more effective.
Oh! Sorry. Continue.
Anyway.
Oh my goodness. Wow, yeah, flute has been found. Swamp Palace, first chest. Lamal. Let's go. Oh no. That's horrible. Anyway, Zheal meanwhile will be heading into the Cold Step fight. Gets out the Fire Rod to make quick work of the protective shell. As Azaz is going to activate his flute. Oh my god, Zheal! Wow. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. That was amazing. Both Azaz finding the flute and Zheal just melting through Cold Stare. But yeah, with that, we have released the duck from its pedestal. And undoubtedly, Azaz will be checking out the Misery Mire area. Never mind. Going to stock up on potions for Ice Palace. I'm always incorrect.
I think I finally have my laughter under control now. I've been trying to recover from explaining the relative merits of sequential location progression and being caught off guard by the flute.
Oh.
That.
Well, I am made a liar of again. Maya it is. Well, I'm just gonna stop calling runners' choices because this is not working out.
The point I was trying to make was that ice would unlock something in the swamp route that swamp wouldn't unlock in the ice route, which is the pyramid fairy option. Swamp paying off in the very first item and then noping out of the dungeon, that's not something that you can really anticipate happening.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, definitely an interesting turn of events. Azaz, though, finding a vanilla heart piece in the checkerboard cave. Zheal, meanwhile, checking out the pyramid fairy. Going to be finding a piece of heart and a red rupee.
So at this point, we're looking for the ice rod and bombos for our go mode, our no mode at least.
Yes, or an item leading to those in way of the mushroom or powder. But yeah, we're definitely coming to a close on what we need for go mode items. Zheal, though, is going to make the call for Storm Palace pretty much the only thing that he can do. As Asa is making his way through Misery Mire.
I don't know if I can wait until Ace actually finishes the race. I really, really want to know his thinking behind that swamp.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be one hell of a question. As we find a small key in the first chest.
Yeah, it obviously paid off, but I can't think of any reason why you would do it. I'm also not in the bracket, so. But I'm just.
Well then.
I need this to be explained to me like I'm a 4-year-old. So Asa, please do an interview.
Yeah, my. Although part of his decision making might be that he feels significantly behind. As we did have pretty much a full clear until we got that cave. So that might be one of the driving forces. Though Zheal, meanwhile, gets the flute and is going to nope out immediately as well.
Yeah, Zheal remembers the save and quit in the light world first. Always an annoying thing to have to do those double mirrors when you have the mirror and Aga.
Yeah, it does not come up often that that saving and quitting in the Dark World will put you back in the Dark World, because Aghanim is not required often, although for this seed it was very much required. As Zheal is going to play us an amazing song on his ocarina.
Yeah, the rare 1 hour in Aga becomes required. See.
Mushroom!
Oh,
my goodness!
Stupid seed.
Oh my word, we could not make this up even if we tried. Well, at least it was the mushroom opening up both the Mad Batter as well as the potion shop.
What
Meanwhile,
we
find
stupid seed.
Oh man, it has been brutal. Red mail on the desert ledge. Zheal is going to be following closely behind Asa.
So normally I would say, you know, it's probably safe to turn the mushroom in and not fake powder, but in this seed, probably the magic bat and the witch have the 2 required progression items. Ooh,
Ooh,
spookiness.
asazas. Wow, okay. So recently there has been a new glitch discovery
Spooky.
by exploiting the way that the game handles location data. If you fly in from a certain angle, then on the correct coordinates, pull the stone from the flute point to get into Maya. If you throw a Sumayo block into the void and fight the fire rod at specific coordinates, the game will incorrectly activate the switch. So that does allow ASAS to save about 7 seconds. Is Zheal setting up for the bird toss? Oh my god. Meanwhile, Azaz finishing off Vitreous. Everything happening rapid fire.
I think you're like 6 versions behind on the spooky setup, but the fundamentals are pretty close.
Bird toss.
Come on, oh, no red mail. He's just not a coward. Nice mire too from Zheal.
Azaz in the Desert Palace does get the big key. Zheal, meanwhile, making his way through Misery Maya. We are going to get to see the big chest immediately, which does hold the small key to get to the right side. Wow, we're getting send everywhere in this seed. Tower of Hera basement, Desert Palace all around.
Yeah, a little bit interesting to go in the desert, but you know, with only 2 items here. But you know, having done Mire, you know, the options are this or Ice Palace, or checking in here, hoping that you got to find that Bombo somewhere. Probably doesn't want to go back in the swamp.
Yeah, we are also still waiting on that ice rod that has been eluding us for now, which, for all intents and purposes, could still be on the pedestal. Oh my god, could you imagine? That would be an absolute nightmare for our runners.
We get to find out that the witch has just a big 20, and Aza didn't do a save and quit and a hard reset, so no fake powders. What we really want to find, if you're the runners, is you want to find the ice rod before Bombos. Then you know that you're not going to have to gamble it being in Turtle Rock.
Oh yeah, that is true. Ice Rod could still be anywhere within Turtle Rock, with the exception of Trinex, of course. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Azaz, meanwhile, though, making his way into the Ice Palace, as Zheal is cleaning up the rest of Misery Maya.
And with 2 items missing, this will be a full clear on Ice Palace, and we know that's not going to yield to any progression other than the crystal, which of course is our 6th crystal, so there is value in that. But I think they might have to go back to the Swamp Palace.
Yeah, they did leave an additional 6 items because both of them did immediately just bail out after the flute. Oh my god. Book on pedestal, vanilla bombos. Chat, please.
Building out a swamp and you found the flute there, that was a great play. I don't blame either of them for making it. It was a brilliant play, but In this particular case, if they do have to go back there, they'll be kicking themselves. In this seed, though, like I was saying earlier, it's not a matter of feeling behind, it's a matter of how far behind do you feel.
Yeah, I suppose that would be the best way to look at it. Azaz, not gets the bomb jump, but has the pegs down. Maybe
oops.
muscle memory, or well, okay. What's going on?
I've actually done that before.
This is crazy.
Oh no! Oh, Asa will never do that again.
Nope. I mean, it didn't even look
Nope.
like he noticed that he left them down. He's just going on autopilot.
No, it was a really nice bomb jump too. I think.
Oh yeah, it was like, you know, first try. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't think he touched those orange floor tiles at all.
No, that was a another clean bomb jump. But yeah, Zaz was gonna find out that he put it up wrong. Meanwhile, Zheal in the rapid fire boss fight, Vicious with his silver arrows, an absolute steal.
Oh, poor guys.
Oh, this could not be any better.
Well, you're an hour and a half in. You still don't even have ability to get into Turtle Rock, so you're missing the medallion. And then you still know that if you get into Turtle Rock, the ice rod can be anywhere in the freaking game except Ganon's Tower or Trinex. So you might have to go to Trinex, not be able to complete him, then go freaking clear Pedestal for all you know.
Yeah, this could still very much be a longer seat than our runners might have hoped for, with that pedestal still being on the table. But yeah, this definitely is not yet over, guys.
Gosh, they went into Eastern too, and they got items, but they didn't clear Armos, so that's another place that they're gonna have to double dip. I think we need like a 30-minute break between the end of this race and the interview, so we can go back and review the VOD. Because there's so much stuff that I missed. So, answering a question in chat, we have seen several seeds many seeds where we've had double dip Ganon Towers. This race won't be one though, because the Ice Rod and the Bombos are both needed to complete the last Crystal Dungeon, Turtle Rock. By the time they get those, there's nothing left that they would have to find in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, the only thing that they will need from Ganon's Tower is going to be that big key. Because we do still need the two items we mentioned before. And perhaps even a book if it is on one of the tablets. And Azaz, realizing what he did, looking around a bit confused, like
I
wait
don't
a second.
have a key. Fortunately, stealing a key from that room that will let him use the Cane of Samaria to hit the switch, and he'll be able to do this with only a minor delay. Zheal doing a fake counter here.
Yeah, I was about to mention. Whoop. Does get the timing a little bit off. It's going to try for a second time. Whoops. The timing is
third try is the charm.
Yeah, the timing is fairly small. I believe it's okay. Zheal, what is going on?
What the? What are you doing?
Okay,
That's not a hard thing to do. Try again.
No, All right, to explain any potential new viewers, what Zheal tried to do is the fake powder glitch. A recent discovery within the randomizer community is if you have 0 magic, use the Cane of Sumaria and get the no magic sound, the little sound. If you pull out the mushroom a handful of frames after, the mushroom will be substituted for a powder effect, thus activating the magic altar without the actual powder. But Zheal did not get the timing quite right, so he decided to bail instead and go and turn the mushroom in. So we may never know what's on the altar.
I've never seen that. It's I've never seen anybody, especially a bracket runner, not be able to do fake
powder glitch. Anyway, with that mishap out of the way, Zheal is going to check the spike cave, going to be crossing off some out of the way locations. Azaz getting harassed a little bit by the Octoroks will be heading into the Dark World.
Yeah, gonna go back to Swamp Palace. Actually, the Pyramid Fairy first, and then Swamp Palace. I'm guessing. But every time we've guessed something, except for Cape on Catfish, and that was yours, we've been wrong.
Well, as it usually goes. Ooh, Azaz setting up for the bomb teleport. Going to be using the mirror at the exact moment that it explodes. Which, yes, as all works out well, is going to give him the bomb to be teleported. Just a little optimization. Oh, Zheal going back to Swamp Palace.
Yeah, they're both gonna go back to Swamp Palace. So it's insane that Asa did this incredibly early swamp gamble and is gonna have to come back here and full clear it.
Yeah, wow. Imagine what play would have been if he actually kept going.
That flute, like getting the flute, didn't
yeah,
actually give him any progression.
No, that's the funny part as well.
It nothing.
Did bugger all.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I guess it gave them a crystal for Misery Maya, but other than that,
they could have done that after clearing Swamp Palace.
Yeah, like it doesn't actually give you anything better for Swamp Palace. Oh, this is horrible.
Well, at least Zheal picked up the red mail, so I'm gonna, my personal appreciation to Zheal.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well take your consolidation price while you're at it.
Yeah, this is insane.
Oh man. But yeah, with both the runners now in Swamp Palace, be interesting to see if the runners are going to make a gamble again on the left side, or if they're just gonna, adhere to the seed's demands and get every single item location in this game.
This might be the longest seed in the bracket tournament.
Yeah, this could easily go the full way.
I mean, it's going to be over 2 hours, as it is.
Yeah, at this point, you'll be hard pressed to make it through the entirety of Ganon's Tower as well as Turtle Rock. Zheal though, skipping left side for now.
So
this could give an advantage to Asaz.
I'm gonna call that we find Bombos, both players mirror out, go full clear, Turtle Rock, and then the Ice Riders on pedestal.
Oh my god!
Because that's what we. That's
Stop!
no. Like in the first 10 minutes of the game, if you do that, then you're being a massive troll and just a jerk. At this point,
Vamos!
it's almost guaranteed.
Sorry.
Yep.
Wait, what? Yeah, that was weird. I think it was a sub-notification. Don't mind that.
Yeah, not actually clear up to laser bridge is that should have been implied.
Oh, God.
So,
Well.
Zheal, you're supposed to be mirroring out now and going to Turtle Rock.
He is. He wants Icewood from Sasha. I bet he's like ready for anything.
He's gonna mirror? Anyone taking me up on this? Nope.
No, they're both saying bugger it. I'm done with this seat. I'll do as you wish. Fine.
Nice. Some nice quick kill there from Zheal for the first couple pops.
An amazing quick kill as well. Cold sword! What more could the seed give us?
The ice rod would be nice.
Well, powder would be nicer.
A rhetorical question.
Oh my. Well, with that, our runners are looking for only one item guaranteed, potentially 2 or 3, depending on our first quest situation. Perhaps even 5 on our pedestal situation. Zheal going to be turning in that green pennant immediately. So what do you think it's going to be? Ice Rod, Powder, or Book on Sasha?
A heart piece.
I'm going to say Powder. The bombs? What?
There we go. A unique item. That's fair.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh my god. Both of them skip left side. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
this is going to be... Where's Zheal going?
Wait. They full cleared ice.
He did Zora, didn't he? Yeah. Zora.
Maybe. Oh, he didn't. He never checked the
he never looked
item. Oh god, he's got to be feeling behind. But thankfully, we know it's nothing of importance. It's not picking up his bombs.
I don't know how he didn't look at that in the first place.
Yeah, like I mean, at the time he didn't have the flippers, but I mean, still.
You don't need the fake flippers to see it. Oh, we got Sync on Turtle Rock.
Wow. Yeah, this is what we mean by, we only call it an advantage because our runners are pretty much neck and neck again. Almost 1¾ hour in.
Yeah, they have all of the same, I mean, they've seen all of the same spots, they've done everything the other one's done. Maybe there's one location that one person's checked, the other hasn't, but not many. Zheal has the red mail, but that's just because Aza didn't want to wait for the fanfare and pick it up.
Yeah. Oh my god. That is pretty much the biggest discrepancy between the two.
Yeah.
Zaz already having the portal will be into Turtle Rock a slight bit quicker.
Alright, come on. Powder on pedestal and Ice Rod on Magic Bat. Because Zheal tried to fake Powder, so that has to be where the Ice Rod is.
Oh, that would be... Oh no.
No, Zheal didn't do it. Zheal tried to do it, but he didn't do it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, did not manage to pull it off. But we'll just have to wait and see. Azaz's first one in Turtle Rock. Zheal following closely behind. As well as left side swamp. I'm still in for left side swamp. That would just be the ultimate insult.
A triple dip pendant swap.
Oh my god!
That would be
Can you
great.
imagine
That
the
would be
looks on
great.
their faces? This will go down in history.
I'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm just not doing it. I forfeit. The first double forfeit of the tournament.
Brutal this is. I love it. Ice Rod! There it is! Oh, rock Ice Rod, of course it is. And with that, both our runners
The nightmare is dead.
in go mode at the same time. Whew. Well, chat, displaying their displeasure with finding that particular item. Our runners both will be releasing a sigh of relief after the seed has pulled, after the shenanigans the seed has been giving us. Oh my dear.
Shenanigans are, playful jokes not meant out of spite. This is something else entirely.
This is just pure agony, torture. Just
Zheal
a
getting,
test of patience, if you will.
Bodied there by the chain chomps.
Yeah, just like in Mario 64, nothing will stop the chain jump.
I can imagine, like, right after this race, Zheal spends like 5 minutes learning the fake powder.
Yeah. Oh my, that is so silly though. But nonetheless, that did make this race ever closer. So you're going to be stealing the smoky. Definitely not a bad choice. There is absolutely bugger all that could help you progress faster through the seed. You already have the golden sword as well as red mail.
Yeah, he's not checking the big chest there. Gambling that we're going to find a small key in one of these back 5 chests. Zheal is going for the big chest, so that could be a problem if there's... Alright, there's a key. So gamble paid off for Asa.
Yeah, although with only 4 hearts, we'll have to be careful. Zheal forgoing the Mimic Cave. And we'll find a red rupee in the big chest.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that gamble, just because if you mirror back to the beginning of the dungeon, or you have to, I mean, it's really time consuming.
Yeah, though, thankfully, it did pay off.
I think Asa picked up some potions earlier on, at some point.
Yes, he did buy a couple, if I recall. But yeah, with that, Azaz is almost upon the Trinex fight.
Yeah, he just used one of his blues, so he's fine for Trinex. Powder should be nice right about now.
Can you imagine powder at Trinex?
Well, I meant the anti-fairies before Trinex, but yeah, it's...
Yeah, no, but like as an insult to
Asaz. Trinex giving you the powder, okay.
Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put anything past the seed.
Alright, so I'm gonna speedrun through this explanation. We have 22 locations in the Ganon's Tower. There is one famed item to be found. If you have donated 250 bits or subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming channels, you have a chance to get placed onto the leaderboard for guessing correctly. For guessing correctly. English is hard. So, with that out of the way, quickly, what is your call going to be?
I am going to go forward behind the Yeah, behind the ice armors. I was gonna say tile room, but that's too obvious.
Tile room, can you imagine? My personal preference is to generate a random number. Today it's going to be 15, so it's going to be a rather late big key according to my prediction, but we will just have to see. As ASAS will be the first one into the Ganon's Tower, we will be using ASAS's count for the big key, even if Zheal were to find it first.
That is a fair way to do it. It's a super close race though, so.
Yeah, this could powder.
Oh, jeez.
Of course. Oh, and we are going left side. Imagine Zheal gambling. Tile room. Oh my god.
Yeah, Zheal going right side as well. No key, so this is also going to be a full left. Really no option for route divergence in this particular run, which is good because it's just execution at this point, and Zheal's only like a good 15 seconds ahead.
Yeah, so without a single rupee, the compass, the map, wow, all the dungeon items, except for that big key, still eluding us.
That powder will definitely come in handy. I don't know if they have any potions left. Asa used one before Trinex. With two anti-fairies, well, an anti-fairy and a bunny beam right before Moldorm 2, they'll be able to top off their health, and that's all they'll need for both Agatu and Ganon. Zheal even using the bug net, catching a fairy.
Wow, both runners very close together. Azas making excellent use of the blue boomerang.
Yeah, Asa pulls ahead by 2 rooms by having a slightly better stealth boost room and not spending time picking up that fairy.
Yeah, also, I did a little bit of research, and it turned out that you cannot perform the powder glitch if you empty your magic within the altar room itself. So that is why Asaz was, wow, half magic. That's insane. Yeah, as I was saying, you need to empty your magic bar before you enter the altar room, otherwise the glitch will not work. So that is why it didn't work for.
Can you screen
Asaz.
transition like out and then back? I'm
Yes.
sure I've seen people burning their lamp in that room. That doesn't sound right. I mean, maybe it is, but I mean, it doesn't feel right.
Again, duct tape is pretty much all that holds this game together. But as far as I have read on it, that is the most likely reason for it failing for a runner.
Yeah, I just want to put the caveat out there, Stan. I don't think that's correct. So, just for the benefit of the audience, we should maybe put a pin in that one. I'm pretty sure I've seen that happen before. So back to the right side. Neither of them gambling tile room. My guess, my official guess in Twitch chat is this next chest. Oh my god. Of course it is. Hey Stan, how you doing?
No. Just no. No. Just no. Oh no.
How you doing?
No. Just no. No way. This yeah. I can't believe this game. This game is insane. You've got to be kidding me. No. Okay. Well, this is a thing.
Tile room sink. Oh.
There it is, the big key in tile room. Oh my god. It's the 22 it was. Well, oh my god. Oh my god.
This race, you know what?
I've got to be.
I'm hoping for a tie at this point, to be honest with you. I'm hoping for a tie.
Bugger me. Well, you know, honestly, at this point, the seed just wants to make sure it's 2 hour plus, I suppose. Oh.
Yeah, definitely breaking the 2 hour mark. There was a chance if we got, you know, an early big key, but with tile room, the sub 2 dream is dead. At least with the ice rod, you know, showing up where it did, that killed the, you know, the 220 that I was hoping for.
Asas, meanwhile, in the gauntlet, is going to have to fight off a total of 5 rooms filled with tricky enemies, as well as BMOs on conveyor belts and introducing ice. So definitely not the most fun rooms in the game, but with the skill level of both of these runners, we'll be able to make very good work of this, as Azaz is already onto the Landmola's refight.
Yeah, Aza's 2 rooms ahead, but God, this is so close.
Yeah, this could come down to someone falling to Ganon.
And not even a Ganon fall. I mean, a Moldorm fall would be enough to sync it up.
Yeah, definitely. Also considering both have all of the weapons required to make the Ganon fight as fast as possible with the gold sword and silver arrows. This is definitely still not over.
Yeah, Zheal was not Zheal's best gauntlet. I've seen him do better there.
Yeah, perhaps the a bit of stage nerves are starting to kick in. You are almost 2 hours in. Presumably, you have made some bad calls due to the way that the seed turned out. So it might be that is burning on Zheal's mind. But little does he know how close it actually is, as Azaz is making his way to the upstairs series of rooms.
Yeah, he went 2-0 in his first bracket round. So being this close, I mean, at 2 hours, I can't even imagine the nerves.
Yeah, with that, both of our players mere rooms apart. Azaz will be the first one to challenge Moldorm.
He's only getting one of the fairies? Both fairies for Zheal. I appreciate that. God, same room.
Oh, Azaz having a little trouble in the bumper highway. Gets knocked around a little bit. Zheal also skipping the final chest location of the game. Does not want to waste any more time as Azaz is into the second Aghanim fight. Going to see his trigonometry score. Let's get a double on the first one.
Yeah, they're both in Onaga too. There we go. That's it for Aza.
Yeah, with that, Aza will be the first one into the Ganon fight. Great lineup there from Zheal getting another double hitter. I don't imagine Aghanim having a lot of health left.
Yeah, Zheal needing at least one extra cycle there. So, unfortunately, Zeal's lost every one of these GT rooms. Aza's just executed a little bit cleaner and just picked up a second here and a second there, and it's added up.
Yeah, all these little tiny time losses do add up over time. Because we still have the Ganon fight ahead of us. Both of our runners at the same time as us, already advancing through the phases onto the third one right now. Meanwhile, Zheal just entering the second phase with the fire bat ring.
It's good to point out in a situation like this that both players have the exact same randomizations for Aga teleports, Ganon teleports. So this is all on their skill. No luck involved.
Ooh, Azaz almost getting a double or a triple rather, but does manage to finish it off. And barring an accidental fall, will be the first one into the Triforce room. Zheal, meanwhile, putting in silver arrow number 1. Misses the torch base, unfortunately, although with half magic, not that big of a deal. And with that, Asaz is this race winner with an official time of 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 19 seconds. Though following closely behind, Zheal with the final arrow will be into the Triforce room shortly as well. Wow, this came down to the wire. For a 2 hour plus seed, tile room, Aghanim, like, hello? Oh.
Absolutely. Zeal's having an official time, 2 hours, 2 minutes, 47 seconds, a 28-second difference in a 2 hour plus seed. Had to scroll up a lot in the race chat to see those times. They've been talking about this one for quite a bit, so I'll be very eager to have them join us in the commentary stream and continue that conversation.
Yeah, this should definitely be an interesting interview.
So I don't actually have like a long list of questions because the whole thing is like
just oh my god.
I don't want to spend 2 hours to rehash the entire seeds.
Well, I mean, wow. This seed, wow. Just in one word, wow. Really, pretty much all that I can say. But yeah, definitely still a couple of questions that should be interesting.
Okay, so we have the honor of welcoming Aza and Zheal to our chat. GT to both of you guys, and congratulations on the win to Aza.
Thank you. This was not a kind seed at all.
Definitely not. So, while we're on the topic of the seed, the inevitable question: what did you think of that 1 hour aghanim?
Well, I think I was talking with Zheal about it. That this very situation came up in the last weekly race on Saturday, and I just thought, well, I mean, this won't come up again, so I just didn't bother learning it. Just I was talking about the fairy revival trick to skip again.
Yeah, with the extended water walk, that would have been pretty much the only way to avoid aghanim for the seed.
Yeah, I didn't
how
think
about
about
you, Zheal?
that at all. I mean, I had boots. I know how it works, but I just didn't think about it. I just realized it in the post-game discussion with asazas. Super unfortunate.
Yeah, also, I do have a couple of questions regarding the seed. Starting with Azaz, what was your thought process behind going to Swamp first instead of Ice?
Well, my thought process was, I mean, I just felt like super behind because I made a lot of very dumb mistakes along the way. So I just started playing, like doing unlikely plays, but which could net me a high number of items. And just Swamp came up to my head. Just immediately got the flute and bailed off.
Fair enough. Also, speaking of mistakes within Ice Palace, I think you can feel the question coming up.
Come on, Stan, you're just like, we're just jumping on him immediately.
I need to know. Did you notice that you didn't have the pegs up the first time you did the bomb jump? Was that just an autopilot thing, or?
It was just an autopilot thing. I changed my strategy in the previous room very recently. Just using 2 bombs in the room with the bombable hole. So I just, out of muscle memory, I just slashed the switch again. Luckily, I had the King of Samaria, else it would have been a really embarrassing time waste. It was embarrassing enough.
Yeah, thankfully you did not have to redo the entire dungeon. Now, a question for you, Zheal. During the end of the run, when you were both in the Ganon's Tower, pretty much neck and neck, when the 21st chest did not come up with the big key, what went through your mind, knowing that it wasn't in the final room?
What went through my mind? I thought it was a glorious end for the seed. I mean, it had to be 22. Actually, I should have known it. I mean, the seeds tracked you all around the world. Then you had still to do Aghanim, and then it tracked you all around the world again. And then you had to. Then I at least double tipped Swamp Palace. I mean, mirror at Zora without even having flippers. I didn't. No, I didn't have flippers. Oh, it was flippers actually again.
Hammer pegs?
Hammer
Yeah, hammer break.
Oh yeah, that was the worst feeling. I didn't want to find flippers at all, because when Swamp Palace is a pendant, the last thing you want to find are flippers. Because you can flake flipper, of course, twice, and you don't need it for anything else. And yeah, when I saw the 21st chest is not the big key, I thought this is the glorious ending the seed deserves.
Well, but both of you guys double dipped Swamp. We were speculating. We're like, well, what if they find Bombos, mirror out, go to Laser Bridge, no Ice Rod, and then have to go back to triple dip Pendant Swamp? But fortunately, that didn't happen. General question for the both of you guys. You know, during this particular race, you guys exhausted all of your options. I mean, sequence breaking, Death Mountain, fake flippering, doing everything you could. At multiple points in the game, you were both funneled down to a single spot. So you really can't go back and look at, oh, I could have routed that differently, because you had to route in almost everything at various points. So, you know, I guess what I'm saying is, you know, you probably felt behind, but is there anything that you would have really done differently given how linear it became?
Well, first of all, not dying. That's for sure. Yeah, I think dying during fake flippering the first time to the mirror kind of hurt my time.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of small things, like save and quitting after finding the cave, for example. It would have been faster to just walk over or run over.
Also remembered to mirror back before saving and quitting. I forgot about that several times.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of small things. I played the seed. It was just an unfortunate seed for my playstyle, really. I did it how I usually do it, and it just I did my usual priorities, and then I tried to track down the seeds on the items I found. But so many items were so out of the way on single item locations that it was just naturally a really long seed if you went for locations that yielded you the most amount of items.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just have one last question, and then I'll give you guys an opportunity to do final words and before we do the wrap up. Getting close to our time limit here, but chat made me ask this, Zheal, so I apologize. But fake powder.
Oh yeah, I talked about asazas, how it works. I never did it. I think I did it one time on the practice ROM, and it worked, and I thought, yeah, okay, that's easy enough. And now I just do the same, and it didn't work. But asazas told me that you can't deplete your magic in the room, so that was my problem, right?
I'm gonna have to go back and practice that. I still don't know if that's true. I
don't know if it's not that. I have no idea what my problem was. I mean,
Yeah.
it's legit. It's legit. Just use Sumaru with no magic and then mushroom, right? There's nothing more on it.
I think it just comes down to the speed of the menuing. I can swear I've seen people like burn down their lamp in that room. To me, it looked like you weren't pausing quick enough after hitting the cane.
Oh,
but it's really hard to tell.
I didn't even know I have to be quick. I mean, I didn't know what was the problem.
Yeah, you have to use the cane and then like immediately menu and then switch to the powder like within like a fraction of a second. But go back and practice it, and we'll get a definitive answer for our next race on whether your magic needs to be in the room or not, because I'll go practice that. But you're looking at your final collection rates here. Zheal, you only picked up 2 more items, one of which was the red mail, which Asa saw and didn't get. So pretty much almost in exactly the same run. So we do have to wrap it up, but I'll give you the opportunity for any final thoughts. Asa, you can go first.
Well, yeah, so this is most definitely not over. Yeah, I look forward to another exciting race tomorrow.
Yeah, it will definitely be exciting. I hope the next one it comes a bit more down to routing and not so much to the last location in the game. I didn't feel like I did a lot of routing mistakes, maybe small ones, and it still was such a long seed. It was really weird.
Yeah, really obnoxious.
Well, GG's again to both of you guys, and congratulations to Asa for getting 1 win in the column. This is a best of 3 match, so it's not over. I'm hoping for Zheal that you pull off a win in the next round, because I always love seeing game 3s. More rando is always better than less rando. There are links in chat to follow both Zheal and Asa. This was an incredible race, and they're obviously both extremely skilled runners with tremendous execution. So we recommend that you check out their channels, see if their stream style and broadcast schedule works for you guys. Looking at our schedule here, we have a race coming up at 3:30 p.m. EDT. That's 40 minutes from now on the Speed Gaming 1 channel between Gerdo and Yagamoth. That is their Game 2 match. So that'll be interesting. At the same time, we also have on ALTTP Randomizer 1, the Game 1 match, I believe, between Gem and Chex Human. So we got some really nice matches coming up in less than an hour. I recommend everybody check out both of those channels as well. Check the schedule for more rando action later in the day. And we're wrapping things up here. I have to thank the Speed Gaming channel for hosting this stream and their Speed Gaming staff for their behind-the-scenes action, keeping everything running smoothly. Our tracker Raspberry Floof for keeping us honest, keeping everything accurate, and enduring through this very long sea where items kept showing up until the very, very end. And last but definitely not least, my co-commentator Stan, which has been an absolute pleasure to join you once again. And the last words go to you, Stan.
Right back at you. Definitely an amazing end to an amazing seed. And with that, I would like to remind everyone to give a follow to all of the link to the past channels in way of the Speed Gaming 1 through 6, ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 4, as well as our YouTube channel over at youtube.co.uk/Speed Gaming channel. Other than that, my name is BizStan.
I'm Tiru. Good afternoon, everybody.
And with that, I'll see you in the next seed.